guys, it's Wayne from 101 Animation, and I had a lot of people ask me about drawing for animation, meaning as you're animating, what type of drawing would you put into it? And there is a difference between, let's say, if you're doing figure drawing and just basic drawing. In animation, we don't want to have to spend, 2 hours on one drawing. It's just, it will kill you. So you want to be able to create a shorthand. So I'm going to get into this. By the way, this is going to be a two-parter. So the first part is just going to be drawing, and then the second part will be, I will be animating with the same approach to the drawing for animation. So here we got my character Honeybee, and as we see here, it's tied down, it's almost perfectly clean. And so it's a model sheet here, and so I'm going to come in here, fade this down. Let's take this pose, for instance. Let me blow this up. A little more comfortable size. So we'll come in here and, we'll think about the whole line of action. And now I'm putting in more anatomy. And this is actually what we don't want to do. We don't want to get in there and get so caught up as we're animating to where we're breaking everything down. You want to do this when you come in to tie it down if it helps you. But let me just do this demonstration. There's a top arm, forearm, and hand. Forearm, hand, and her cheek right there. You want to be aware of this. This is where when you're studying figure drawing, that's why it's so important to do figure drawing, because you want to break things down like so and know them intuitively in your head after, sorry, but sometimes years of doing it. It will come to you easier and easier. But let's just say, there she is. Now I've gone over this in some other videos, like one in Appeal, all that, but I'm going to try to keep this just for drawing for animation. So there we got the cranium, the muzzle, rib cage, pelvis, in very simple forms: bottom leg, top leg, bottom leg, and I'm breaking everything into these different anatomical, very simplified anatomical forms. And that's fine. You want to be able to understand. It's important that you do understand that concept of it. But when you come down, let me move this over. Now you notice I'm going to go over the same drawing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify like I always talk about. And once I get my thumbnails always done in my animation, I'm going to just think of these big shapes like so. Those flowing lines, one into the other. I do always put in the eye line and center line. I'll put it in the torso too. But when we look here, we'll see how I'm not breaking it down so much as I did in this one. For instance, I come back here and I'm not putting in every little form that makes up the character. I'm thinking more in big shapes. And that's how you want to create your drawings. So you're not, see, this is much faster for me. And then if I go to another pose, let's say from this one, and I just create another pose from this one over to here, because I have studied this character and I know how she's basically constructed, I'm able to come in and just put in those big shapes like so. And you notice I'm not laboring over it so much. See, there's the big shape for her arm. Let's say she was reaching over for something. And I will put in, you know, like her dress that goes there. And the big shape for her hair. But it's very important that I don't get too bogged down as I did in this drawing. And yes, for the drawing and animation, because what we're doing is we're trying to make the character have a personality, bring out the personality. So what that means is you're going to have different attitudes on the face. So on this one, we'll just say she's just looking over with a little ooh mouth like so. I'll keep it that simple in the very beginning. Let's say on this one, she's a little upset, nose. And I'll keep it that simple. Right there. And this is how you can go about it without laboring over it so much like so. And then coming in and putting in, you know, all the detail. You can do that over these drawings. Watch, I'll come in here and I can add it in there. I can do the same thing here. Start to add in more of the detail. Her antenna's up here. She's a little bee character. So, I mean, that's the basic approach. So, because I know her basic volumes and proportions, I'm able to come in and do this. So what that also means, let me go in here. What that will also mean, we'll use this one, is when you first have your character, like I've said in the past, you do want to break it down, you want to break them down into their basic shapes. What makes that character? And you want to break them down like so, but again, you're going to notice, and I can put it in the very beginning, I'll sit there and figure out, you know, the proportions and everything. But this is, if you're put on a new assignment and you don't know your characters, this is what I do. I'll just try to figure out what are the main big shapes. Now I know there's elbow right in there, and I know even with this shape, there's an elbow there. But that's what I want to figure out. I want to figure out the basic proportions in the very beginning, and then from there is when you can start to create drawings that are more so like this and like that. So let's continue on here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some figure drawing out of my head. So I'm thinking to myself, character reaching over like so. And notice how, and do take figure drawing, please, you guys. I can't stress figure drawing enough. But I'll have a female character and she's reaching, or she's leaning over this way. And I'll have her arms come back with a gesture like so. And there I've got this gesture pose. And you want to put in these confident lines, and that just comes with practice. And I'm just showing you the shorthand. That's what you want to create. You want to create a shorthand for your animation drawing. And this is a side note. Understand, everybody is different. Everybody, it's just like your signatures, just like your fingerprint. Everybody has a little bit difference in their dexterity, in their arms and their hands, the fine motor coordination. So you want to be inspired by other people, but you're going to have a little bit different, signature in your drawings. So you're just seeing the way I'm drawing here. If you study different artists that you're inspired by and study the best ones. And when you're doing it, you don't want to try to get too caught up to where you're trying to draw just like them. How do I know this? Because I made that mistake. And trust me, it's better if you're just inspired and you're drawing in your natural way, but trying to follow what you can learn from their drawings. Like I looked at tons of different animation artists, and from Moore Kimball, Freddie Moore, my mentor Del Bear, Glenn Keane, Milt Gall, obviously. You study from them, but you don't try to get the exact same line. I would say just be influenced by it. But the one thing they all got in common, and I also want you to understand, in animation drawing, I have seen all my heroes in the field of traditional animation. I have seen them all work very rough, like I'm doing here. Some of them work in a different approach. Even the same artists will work in a different. I'll see a drawing, I won't know whose it is, and I'll be surprised it was somebody else's drawing that I'm looking at. So here's one. I would call that, if I'm just drawing the character, here she is, and there will be other elements. She could have different things she's wearing, pants on, a belt up here, and different things like that. I've also seen animation drawings that are, just almost just pure shape from like the force of it here. I'm just going to make something up and coming here, rhythmically there, and then they'll draw like this, and you can see all this energy in the drawing like so. And they know the big shapes of the characters, and then if they're I'm not sure, let's say the character is just coming forward in this direction, and again carrying something, and then looking over here, not looking down that way, and then I'll put in a belt line, and whatever else is in there. And I've seen drawings like these, and sometimes you can do tighter drawings. Other times you'll be in such the moment while you're animating that you're just gonna feel out those big shapes because you're transitioning one drawing to the other. You're gonna find out what works for you. The only way you can do that, is by experimenting, by trying it out, trying, the different approaches. But I'll sit there, and my method of animation is usually post-pose after the thumbnails, but I'll do drawings like this, just so if it's a breakdown, I'm just trying to get that feeling into it. I've seen drawings that were so scribbled out like this and so sketchy that when I first looked at the drawing, I couldn't even make out what was going on with it. But then when I rolled the drawings, suddenly it came alive and it made total sense. I've seen it with my animation. I've actually even seen it where in my animation drawings, because I'm so caught up in the moment of animating, I wasn't sure what I was doing in the drawing, but when I flipped it, rolled it, then I could see it. Or digitally, it's the same thing. If you're just scrolling through, you can see it. But that's a good example. I remember seeing like Milt Gall drawings where he with Medusa, he would almost do just the contour of it. She was like so. I don't remember really what Medusa, how she looked, but he would just come up with almost just drawings like this. His very first pass, and I never met the man, I've just studied his drawings, but I would see drawings like this, and it doesn't look like Medusa, but they would almost just be pure shape. And what I mean by that is pure shape is to where It was almost a contour line, and it's on the outside of the character, and you could see him searching for it. That is what I'll say is the difference between figure drawing and animation drawing. In figure drawing, we got the model there, be it a live model or be it a you got the reference from the internet, but you got the reference there, so you're not searching as much. But when you're drawing out of your head and you're trying to make the character act and keep the volumes the same, I recommend, especially when you're starting out, I recommend you start off like so. So we'll say that this character is coming, stepping there, and you can see the gesture in it right there. And then I'll put in a shorthand, maybe, they're on this particular pose, their eyes are closed and they're grunting about something. And let's say if he had a top hat on, there, I put in a rough top hat. Now I'm gonna start fleshing it out more. I think if you've seen my videos, I'll just keep going over that if necessary. But I don't really know who this character is, so I'm just making them up as I go along. But I can add all the other details in there after you get the big shape. I've seen people who animate, and I say stick figures. It's not really a stick figure. Stick figure is this. To me, that's just a dead figure. There's nothing there. But I've seen people animate with almost just the skeleton. And then some feet down here, because they can get away with that, because that's basically the proportions of the character. And I've seen them animate an entire scene with just these proportions, and they'll put in the joints like so, like that. And I've seen them just animate this way, and it's beautiful. I've seen the great James Baxter. I saw a scene that he had done of Rafiki, where Rafiki's coming up in perspective towards the camera, and it was a different different style of the way the lines are put down than what I'm doing here. But let me tell you, when that scene, when I saw it move, it was impeccable. The timing, the attitude, the gesture. And then I guess, he just went back over it and started putting in all the shapes and forms to make it into Rafiki. But when he had done it at this stage, it was just beautiful. And I have seen rough sometimes that are just sometimes there's just so many lines in there. You could see the animator is searching. And here I'm searching, and there's the character. And if you can't make what this is, I'll do a draw over of it. But I'm searching. I'm going to bring the head down more. Maybe I bring that arm up higher. And watch, I'll do a draw over of this one. And first, before I do the draw over, I'm not sure if you guys can tell what this pose is. I can tell what it is because I'm the one thinking while I'm drawing it. I'm being emotional about it. There. And then if I'm going to go back over it, if this is the proportions of the character, but I got the idea of the gesture right here. Gonna go with that head. Center line, eye line. I'm gonna try to keep this very simple. My hands, and I hope this reads after I get it in here. Then I can put in a little expression. And when I'm doing these demos for you, I'm really using generic sort of characters. I'm not trying to, this isn't about character design or anything, but I'm just putting in these generic characters, and what I'm trying to convey here is the character is coming up here. The hands are sprawled out, but I would stop there. I feel like it's reading. I might change the foot, but let's say it's a character and there's some mouse or something over here, and it's startling this character. But that's about as far as I'll go with the animation drawing. Won't take it any further. There, I got enough information there to where start to tie it down right there. And, you know, I got to stop. I'll take it to about there, and there it is. And then I'll proceed with the next drawing. So let me take this drawing and understand that I did this drawing from this animation drawing. That's another way of doing it. That what I'm trying to explain to you is there's many ways that you can go about to communicate what your drawings are. This isn't the normal way that I personally draw, but there are times where I'll just, okay, I can't seem to get that energy into it. I can't get that attitude into it. And sometimes I'll go like this. I'm more methodical in my animation. I think about it in thumbnail stage before, so I sort of know where I'm going. But it's fine to do this. I've seen just beautiful animation done this way. As long as you can go back in and understand your drawing and simplify it in a format like that, or if you do it more in a skeleton type of figure, it really does come down to what the design of your character is. Let's say if we got a big character, if we're just trying to do an animation drawing, we're thinking of a big character, okay, and we're just gonna have fun with it. And there's a torso right there. Here's some arms back here, and we'll just say sort of this. We'll give him a design like this lower face, and this is roughly his design. But I gotta come in here, and I gotta think about how am I gonna put in this drawing in a shorthand. And if the design is roughly like this, and you're just making it up, you're trying to come up with designs, but they're animation designs. Down. Fist over there, right? We'll give this big guy these tiny little legs. Give him a little more add. See, I first went down there with this line there, didn't feel strong enough. I decided I'm going to come off this line, come straight down there. Simple. Change the ground plane perspective a bit. And here we got this big dude, and there. That could be this is an animation drawing. I'm not sitting there, I'm not being so analytical about it because I've studied the design. So what I want to explain to you again is this is part one. My next one is going to be part two, and I'm going to do some animation with drawing for animation. So I hope this helped you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to One-on-One Animation and check out our other YouTube videos. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.